Okay, welcome back to another video. Got the Soarer at the back here still. It's been sitting here for a while whilst I did the door lock problems. As you can see, it's pretty dirty. It's been sitting out here for a while. But as the title of this video says, I got a body kit to install. This arrived a couple of weeks ago now. Came from the US, from KBD. So it's a polyurethane body kit. It's the Aero replica, or yeah, I guess replica is probably the best way to describe it. Weirdly, because it's PU, it's actually more durable than the original Aerocraft kit, but whatever. So I'll take you over here and I'll show you the kit. Okay, so here it is. It's going to sit a bit lower than the stock one, but hopefully not too low. It's not as aggressive as the Vertex kit, which you see on a lot of Soarers and SC300s. This kit normally comes with a crossbar as well, so I selected the one that didn't have it to remove like this piece that goes in there. So I think this will look better, give it a more open look, and I guess this is kind of halfway between the stock and the Vertex in terms of aggressiveness. The skirts, they're a bit longer than the Series 3 or the 97 model skirts, but again, they're not as flared out and not as low as the Vertex skirts. So one of the things that I am missing is the 97 door trims, which means I probably will have a little bit of a gap just here below the doors. So I'll keep my eyes out for a set of those, but they don't come up very often. And then finally we've got the rear bumper here. I believe it's a little bit longer this way from the stock one, but I also think it's a little bit higher, so get a bit more clearance out of it. The exhaust cutouts are quite a lot bigger than the stock ones, I believe, so I may need to get some bigger exhaust tips or do something there, I'm not sure what. So this video going to be installing it, or at least removing the front and rear bumpers and installing or test fitting the kit. And it may make it into this video, but I may make it a separate video of the painting and final install, but we'll see how we go. I've also got a mesh grill, so I'm thinking of putting a mesh grill maybe in this spot, definitely across the front gap, and maybe the second spot there on the side as well. That could look really good. I think will make it look a little less aggressive, a little less in your face. So yeah, I also bought a silver chrome grill for here, and I bought the little fog lights that go in here, so it should look pretty complete once it's on. I'm just thinking that up here on the grass is probably not going to be the best place to try and do this, so I'm going to back it down onto concrete and I'll just have to try and get it done today, otherwise my parents will go crazy about me parking in front of the garage. Also another thing, I was going to get some of the lads over this weekend to help with the install, but unfortunately for whatever reason we're back in stage 4 lockdown with less than 20 cases, but that's whatever. So it's just going to be me, and I'll probably get my dad to come help at some point as well, because I've heard that you kind of need to like stretch the bumper across to kind of like line it up and put the bolts in and stuff. So that's going to be much easier with 2 people. Anyway, I'm going to just take this and park it down on the flat. Okay, we're here on the flat. Going to start with the front bumper first. I don't believe, I'll probably just put like a time lapse of me taking it off or something. There are plenty of videos and forums showing you how to do that, so I don't really think there's much point in me doing an in-depth explanation. I have already taken off the under tray, so that should make it quite a bit easier. Anyway, I'll cut to the time lapse now. Okay, so I got the front bumper off with some help from My dad, turns out there's a fat black spider living behind the polystyrene, so I've tried to spray him out because I'm not touching that until he's dead. Just gonna get some rags and brushes, clean off all the cobwebs and dirt and stuff. I'll have to try and probably retap some of these threads because they were really tight with rust and stuff. And then we're gonna grab the bumper, kind of mock it up and see what sort of holes we need to drill. Holes on the top line should be pretty obvious. On the bottom it's gonna be more custom, and we'll have to decide where we wanna kind of mount brackets to brace the bottom so it's not flexing so much. Anyway, that's what I'm gonna do now. Okay, I just finished kind of cleaning up the front, just some detergent water and brushing off the cobwebs. Don't really need to do that, it's just the bumper's off, I might as well clean up a little bit. I'm just gonna mock this up at the moment. Dad's currently mowing the lawn, so it'll be like another 30 minutes, but I just want to get an idea of what it's gonna look like, so I'm just gonna chuck it on. Okay, I've literally just slid it on and it just sits like almost perfectly. Huge props to KBD for Fitment because legit all the bolt holes line up to exactly where they need to go, and I haven't even masked it up or stretched it or anything like that. It's literally just sitting there perfectly where it needs to be. The bottom still needs to be secured, and I'll need to work out how to brace that back into the chassis, but all the bolt holes along the top, these 2, these 3, these 5, and same on this side, all just line up exactly where they need to go. But that's kind of how it's going to look. So just waiting for Dad now to finish mowing the lawns, and then basically going to go through and we'll start with the top row and line up exactly where we want to drill the holes and drill them through and get those done, and then we'll start thinking about how we brace the bottom to stop it from flexing as much as it does at the moment. And after that, then we fit the grills, and then I guess fit the lights and all that stuff and get that done. And then that's basically it for the front bumper, and then onto the side skirts and the rear bumper. Okay, so quick update. We've done most of the bolts on the top here, and we've cut the foam bar as well, and we've added these bolts here. So we've just got to do these bolts along here, and then probably these bolts here into the crash bar. Mounted the fog lights, mounted the indicators, and then it's just the high beams, and that'll be it for the front bumper. So yeah. Okay, another quick little update here. We are almost done. We're just having a couple of issues. This side here, there seems to be a little bit more of a gap than this side when it comes to like the bonnet, between the bumper and the bonnet. So we've drilled out these holes here to try and like push it up a little bit more and clamp it down with the bolts. The issue is though, there's like a metal rail that runs along here, and those is what's actually pushing it out. So we're going to try and file out the holes in the metal rail, and so we can push the whole lot in a little bit so we can get a good gap all around the side. Another slight issue is, as something I've always suspected, I believe this panel has actually been pushed in. So that's the reason why this passenger wheel, when I put the Kiwamis on, it pokes by like 5 mil, and when we push this in here, it still pokes out by like 5 mil as well. So it is what it is. Eventually I'll probably get wide body fenders, but until that point it's just gonna have to roll with about 5 mil out on the front bumper. After we get this done, it's just the high beams left and the grille over there to go in here, and then the front bumper is done. And then probably tomorrow we'll do the side skirts and the rear bumper. Okay, so final update for today. It's getting kind of late in the day and I'm kind of tired. It's basically fitted. Like all the structural bolts holding the bumper to the chassis, they're all there and they're all good. It's now just a matter of the only major issue that we've run into is, well, that I've run into is the high beams don't quite fit with the holes, or they don't quite line up with the holes. So I'm gonna have to think about how to fix that tomorrow. And then it's just the chrome grille, and then the mesh grille, and then the front bumper is done. You can see here now the car's off the jacks. It's actually not that low. I thought it was going to be lower, but it's not that low. That's actually kind of a good thing. So I should still be able to get out of my driveway, which is always a plus. And it also means the front bumper is not the lowest point on the car, which means I don't have to adjust the coilover height to still be road legal. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow when I finish off the front bumper and possibly even do the rear bumper and the side skirts. We'll see how I go for time. Okay, we're back for another day today and trying to finish off the front bumper, fix up those high beams, add the grille, and find some sort of method for bracing the bottom so that it's not just flopping around like that. And then side skirts and rear bumper. Might be more than I can chew for today, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so one of the issues that I think I'm having with the high beams is this bracket here, which mounts to here to set the where the high beam's kind of angled. But you'll notice it's kind of warped. Like it's not the other one that sits over this side is very much a right angle, whereas this one's kind of, I don't know if you can see that, it's not exactly bent straight. So I'm going to take it up to the shed, try and bend it into a straight and flat right angle and see if that makes any difference at all. Okay, so I bent this right bracket and I also bent this left bracket, but I think that's about as good as it's going to get. So you can see there's still like a gap over this top edge here. So the whole light needs to move up like, I don't know, 3 mils, 4 mils. But unfortunately, this bracket here underneath the it's not really going to move this way any further without suddenly not lining up with this other bolt here. So yeah, I may just have to live with that little gap up the top there because I don't really see any other way to fix it. Okay, so just a little update before I go and have lunch. The high beams, which are not in here at the moment, but bolted them up and kind of test fitted the bump over the top. It's not perfect, but I really can't do much better with the framing because we're talking steel brackets and there's multiple bolts to hold it in place. So if you move it too much, then one of the other ones don't line up. But anyway, I've bent them a little bit so that they kind of look okay with the bumper on, and that's probably as best as I'm going to get. I did the grille, that was pretty easy, just 3 holes and cut one of the tabs off. That fits nicely. Gonna have lunch now and then I'm gonna do the mesh. Should be pretty straightforward. I just have to think about where I screw into the bumper so that it's not too visible from the other side. I may even go like some really small self tappers that don't even go all the way through the bumper thickness, and hope that that's enough to hold it, but we'll see. After that, we have to think about like bracing the bottom of the bumper with brackets going back into somewhere there or somewhere in there, especially this side here, it just kind of wobbles around. And then that's it for the front bumper really. And then we can move on to the side skirts and the rear bumper after lunch. Oh, another update on the vlog. It's pretty hot out here, probably sunburnt, but it was worth it. So the front bumper is basically done. So you can see the high beams, it looks okay. You can see up here it's like a 5mm gap, so we managed to just kind of stretch it in, and there is a little bit of a gap around the edges. Same on this one as well. This one's much better than the right, the left one. But overall it's pretty good. The grille's been done. Mesh is fitted. We haven't screwed it in yet, but pretty sure I can do that whenever. Same with the brackets. I don't think I'm actually going to put brackets on the front anymore. It's pretty sturdy, but I will try and put a bracket in on this side, which you can see is pretty loose, and bolt it back into the chassis there. So now I'm just going to quickly test it out my driveway to see if it's too low, if I have to build some ramps or go on a different angle or something. And then it's going to be getting onto the side skirts and the rear bumper, and hopefully those should be smooth sailing because there's no like lights or anything that I have to fit in there. It should just be lined up, drill the holes and bolt it in. Okay, just kind of signing off for today. It's the end of the weekend. We haven't got anything done actually extra than what we did. We ran into some issues. First of all, removing this little bit of trim here. As you can see here, turns out the previous owner or whatever put a bolt in through here and we had no access to it from the other side, so he literally had to pull a bolt head through there. And that took a long time. There was also literally like a metric ton of Japanese dirt behind that sill that we had to clear out. But now we've got a pretty good idea of what we have to do, and then we just got to repeat it on this side for the side skirts and then the rear bumper. I don't know if I'll get to do that during the week just because I work full time, but hopefully by next weekend or the end of next weekend we should have the rest of the kit on and done. Anyway, that's enough for today, and I'll see you in a little bit when I start working on the car again. Okay, so back up here on the flat and back working on the skirts again. I'm only going to put in like an hour-ish each day during the week because I'm working full time, but I am working from home, so that makes it a little bit easier. So hopefully the plan for this evening is get this passenger side skirt at least bolted on or line up where the holes are going to go, and then we should have a pretty good idea of what to do on this side, which may happen today but probably tomorrow or later this week, and then the weekend should be the bumper. Okay, so just packing up for this evening. Basically, they've got the skirt on. Looks pretty good. Definitely way better than not having any side skirts. So we just have to think about a couple of ways. So there's some bolts that go in the back here, but there's nothing in this side here. So we need to think of a way to hold this in here. And we're thinking a bolt maybe back in that way, so we don't have any bolts on the outside here like that. And similar kind of story for the front here with this bit. Possibly bolting back in that way too. Anyway, that's it for this evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow or the next day or whenever I get back to working on this. Okay, so back down here on the flat, and I'm going to jack it up, take the wheels off, and hopefully drill these holes to get the skirt done, and then I can get the other side done. Okay, so one of the issues I'm having is with this part here. Even if like we line this up where we want to bolt it, this section here doesn't pull in. And originally you can see in there's like a clip, but we can't really fix anything to the inside of this, and I really don't want to have screws sitting on the outside here. So what I'm thinking is if there's enough space behind here to just have a screw maybe going in on an angle like that, just to hold that in. So it wouldn't need much because this is doing the bulk of holding it in. It just needs something to stop it from moving this way. So that's what I'm going to try and do now. Okay, so just finished up on the passenger side, and I've put the Kiwamis back on as well because the old wheels aren't going to be going back on now, and actually looks pretty good. So there is still this gap here from the old door molds. So like I said, I'll keep an eye out for those, but it doesn't actually look too bad, and definitely with the Kiwamis on, looks way better. So just coming over to this side, just taking this wheel off and about to unbolt here. So on the other side there was literally like a mountain of dirt behind this panel. In fact, I'll take you over here where we dumped it. This whole pile right here was all Japanese grade topsoil, probably 30 years old. So I'll see if I can film it. I don't know how much there will be on the driver's side, but yeah, pretty interesting. Okay, Melbourne's weather is really weird. I was about to call it off because it was getting really hot and sunny, and I was like, oh, this is too hot, I don't want to work in this, but then it started raining, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll call it off because it's raining. And it stopped raining and the sun's gone behind clouds, and now it's actually not too bad. So I'm going to continue. Also, I'm just going to do this whilst I'm waiting for a bit of help from my dad, but I bought some parts which I have no idea if they're going to look good or not, but they were cheap enough that I'm willing to find out. So I bought like carbon lookalike splitters. Just like this with a little winglet, and it's 3 pieces. So this is going to go like here, which hopefully is going to look alright. Obviously they're just cheap plastic with like a hydro dipped graphic. I don't feel like I need to explain that. It's a cheap car. There's no way I'm going to be putting genuine carbon fiber on it. And then I've also got in this box kind of like the matching rear aprons. Well, I say matching, but they're not quite matching, even though they're from the same company and have the same graphic. They're not the same, not the same shape, not the same size. But I'm hoping that, so this one's gone on the rear. I'm hoping that with the wheel spacing, and you're not going to notice how different it is. Also, this bumper curves in a lot, so this will sit a bit better on the new bumper. Anyway, I'm going to assemble those splitters and just kind of see what it looks like. Okay, I've assembled the side splitters. All I can say is I know why they were so cheap now. Build quality is pretty awful. So other than the fact that they're extremely flimsy, the joins here are so tight on the other side that it actually warps the splitter, so it's kind of like a wavy. Yet the top side, there's like a pretty big gap here. And the other thing is the screws on this one, I didn't know. The screws are actually too long, so I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but the ends have just poked through on these ones. Luckily on that one I knew, and I kind of filed the ends short. But yeah, overall not that impressed with these, but we'll chuck them on the car and see how they look. I mean, they were cheap enough, I don't really care that much. And we'll see how they go with that as well. Anyway, back to the side skirt on the other side.
Yeah, there's one under the...
Yeah, so just removing this side and trying to see how much dirt's in there.
Not as much as the other side, but plenty all the same.
Okay, so having a little trouble. I don't know if it might be too dark for you to see, but there's a little bolt in there, a little nut on it that holds this little fender molding on. For some reason the rear ones are just clips that you can pry out, but this one has a bolt. On the other side we didn't realize that, and we just pulled the whole nut right through the panel. So obviously we don't want to do that again. But it's a really weird size. It's different from, it's smaller than 8 but bigger than a 7mm. So just thinking about how to take it off now. Okay, so just finished up for today. It's been kind of on and off raining, but it's still been hot, so I'm pretty sweaty and it's humid and kind of yuck. But we got the skirts done on both sides. They took a while to do. I'll just give you a bit of a look. So yeah, it looks pretty good. I kind of held up the side splitters. Even with the terrible quality that they are, they still look okay. So I'm probably gonna bolt them up, but don't know how long they'll stay on the car for. Because once it's all painted, it'll look pretty good, and I don't want to like cheapen it, I guess, by putting cheap side splitters on. But we'll see how we go. I was gonna start on the rear bumper, but ran into a bit of a problem. The boot release doesn't work, so I'm guessing from the last video you saw me fiddling around with the wiring there and trying to clean up all of that. I'm guessing I probably have cut a wire that I shouldn't have, and yeah, it doesn't work. And also I don't have a key for the lock on the rear boot, so I cannot open the boot right now, which I need to do to remove the rear bumper. So anyway, that's it for today, and I'll see you guys probably to try and fix that problem with the boot, and then yeah, get going on the rear bumper. Okay, welcome back to another day, and hopefully the final day of this video, where I fit the rear bumper on, and then after that it can all come off and go get ready for painting. So end of yesterday I said the boot release wasn't working, but as you can see I've got it open now. Turns out it was just a stupid error by me. There's a little lock here which it's kind of hard to tell when it's pushed in. But when it's pushed in, the boot won't open. So it was just as simple as unlocking it with the key. Although for some reason my main key doesn't work, but my spare does for whatever reason. Anyway, I'm going to get started. Taking out the lining and taking out the bolts. I believe the taillights have to come out. But yeah, I'm going to get started. Okay, so I removed like all the bolts I can possibly see, all of these along here, those in there, those in there, but bumper still doesn't want to come off, so I feel like I have missed a couple of bolts under the car, so I've just jacked it up again, which is not great on this surface, but I'm just going to have a quick squeeze under there and see if I can see any more nuts or bolts or anything like that. Safety first. Okay, so quick update. I managed to get the bumper off. There was another screw in here that was literally entirely covered in dirt, so that's why I missed it, because I couldn't even see it. Bumper's kind of off except for there's one plug there which I can't seem to get off, so I'm gonna have to try that. Got a bucket there of soapy water and just gonna try and clean up all inside here, which was just filthy, and same on the other side there. And I'll try and clean up these air vents as well. And then you can see here rust and a dent, so I'm going to say that this car is like confirmed to have been in an accident somewhere, probably in Japan, and it's cracked the paint and it started rusting, so I'll have to clean that off. I'll wax some Penetrol on there to hopefully stop it from rusting further, and then it's basically fit up the new bumper, work out where we want the bolts and holes, and yeah, just bolt her in. Okay, probably going to close this video off here actually. There's a couple more things I got to do, but I don't really need to show them on camera. Rear bumper is on. That looks good. I like how it flows to match the skirts. It's all pretty nice. The exhaust here you can see is going to need to come out quite a bit. Could possibly even fit a fatter cannon on there. We'll see how we go. Still got to do the number plate, and then there's a couple of tabs under here which will be difficult, but other than that the body kit is complete. So that's it for now. Next video hopefully will be, I'll get it painted, send off to a friend who's going to paint it, and yeah, should be good. There's an ant crawling on the camera. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, thanks for watching.